Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coaching and Consulting Insight series on the Success Insight podcast. This series introduces you to coaches and consultants who work with leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals to create their best lives and achieve and perform at their full potential. Our guest today is Jamar Washington. Jamar is a motivational speaker, a lifestyle coach, corporate trainer, and founder of I Won't Starve Academy. He's also a peer of mine from the Southern Nevada chapter of the International Coach Federation. Jamar, I'm very excited to my first official guest from the ICF chapter here on the podcast. Welcome.
No, I'm the first.
You're the first.
Didn't know that, man. Wow, this is really going to be special. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. When they first put out the notice last year about they were going to start the Southern Nevada chapter, I was like, I'm all in. I live in Nevada. It's nice to get together and chat, learn, break bread with your fellow coaches. And everybody's asking, well, what can you do? I said, well, I have a podcast. I'd love to have you on for some interviews. By the way, I don't think this counts as that episode, by the way. So you and I will be doing this one more time. But I said, let me interview all the members. And you and I just exchanged a card. You had the digital card. I think I still had the physical card at one of the events. So here you are.
Yeah, definitely. It's been good. I'm surprised that none of them jumped. So now we get it started. Nobody wants to be the first. So I'm fine. I'm happy with being the first. And then that'll get everybody to come back on. So
there you go. There you go. So I don't know, like very curious. One, how long have you been in Las Vegas?
2 years, going on 2.5 years now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, where were you prior to Las Vegas?
I was in Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay. Yeah. And what brought you here and starting up well, actually you've had your coaching practice for a while.
Yeah. I've been coaching since 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. And so what got me over here, of course, the pandemic, I'm also a 4-time author. And so during the pandemic, I wrote a book, well, right before going into it, called You Won't Starve, Key Principles of Entrepreneur Development. It was like the part 2 to my first book, I Won't Starve, and which was about me. And it's a training manual. And the key principles was how I was able to make it from $8 an hour, working for $8 an hour a little over 10 years ago now, to being a 6-figure earner as a photographer. And then I became a coach in the middle of that situation. And how that happened was I was doing work with the government, and I found that they were having trouble in the city of Columbia at the time with their supply diversity quotas. Mm-hmm. And because I made a great relationship with them, I was able to start to bring in other minority contractors. And I would help and start coaching them. I was doing it at first for free, but then it became a thing. And then that's when after that, I said, okay, I got to get certified, really take it seriously. And it's been fun ever since.
Okay. Now, where did you get your training?
Let me see, where did I go get my certification from? Nobody ever asked me that in a while. I'll get back to you on that. Let me see.
Okay, no worries.
No, I'm going to tell you in a minute.
All right.
I'm looking at my emails. They keep emailing me for my next certification.
There you go. Well, it's fun. Yeah, I'm on the distribution list. I went to Fielding Graduate University, and it's nice to stay in touch. I do miss the camaraderie of learning with other coaches. And what was the best part of the coaching profession, the training, the development? That was there, like, what you're going to get out of this? Or
I had an amazing time in my coaching training, and I'm still in contact with my my instructor. She's out of Denver, Colorado. She was just amazing. She wasn't afraid to tell me about myself.
Okay.
Me being who I was, because again, as an artist, it's very hard with artists and being an entrepreneur. Is like if we're successful, we can earn a lot of money, and we kind of know what we know. But she was just telling me, one thing I always remember about her teaching me is like, stop telling people what to do as a coach. Okay. Help them to figure out what they should be doing. And okay. I appreciated that. I really did. I was always, when you're an artist, you kind of know what you know, and nobody can't tell you anything. We can have a conversation about what I do, but you can't tell me how to do what I do. And she was able to help me, and that was phenomenal. So we keep in contact on LinkedIn, and she's always, when she see me having any milestone, she chimes in, and vice versa. But yeah, it was fun.
That was great. And how does the training and learning, and it is an art, and you've kind of developed that muscle of letting people arrive at what they need, and you're just helping to facilitate it. What is the outcome today of how you're using your coaching?
Oh man, so it's phenomenal because I coach full time. So my business structure is set up where I do coaching with a lot of business accelerators across the
Okay.
country.
Okay.
Right now, I am coaching in Southern California, Chicago, um, Minnesota, Philly, New Jersey area, and also in South Carolina. And
Okay.
so and I also teach as well. So I train in different parts of the country where you got business owners from $500,000 or less to startups, and then I coach them as well. So the contracts, how we set it up through my company is some of them I'm facilitating and training, and some of them I'm just coaching. So it just all depends on how it is. But how my training helps, I mean, I've been able to get real live experience, so I'll catch myself because I
Mhm.
still get to that point where because if somebody's brand new to business and they're like so social media heavy, oh, they said to do this, and you can hear it in them, and I know the business, so I'm like, no, that's wrong, that's wrong, and I say, how can I do that better? How
Okay.
can I get them to see that is incorrect? How can I guide them in the right direction? Then sometimes just understanding that these people might not get and
Mhm.
backing off of it. Say, hey, oh, I might not be the right person for them because I don't have the right temperament or things of that nature. So it's been good because it's hard. People paying you, you want everything to work,
Mhm.
but sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't work. Sometimes you're not the coach for that person or they're not the client for you. I would always feel a way about that prior to me getting coach, getting training. And so
Mhm.
that's been
Okay. With the types of clients in these accelerators, what are their what struggles do they have to take this idea, and maybe it's not a fully fleshed out idea, but how do they take this spark, this seed, and how do you help them kind of germinate that seed and grow it and nurture it so that they maybe they can't be fully on their own, and they continue to need help, but that they have what they need to get started, and they can start to see the fruits of that labor.
oh yeah. So before I answer that question, it's the Center for Coaching and Certification. That's where I
Oh,
got my
okay.
training. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I had to make sure I got that for you. And they need to know that definitely he has a real certification.
We'll put the backlink to the website in the show
Yeah,
notes.
yeah, go ahead to that. And I'm of course a member of ICF. So, but for me, first things first, and this was I think is a gift of mine is I care. I really do care because individuals, I didn't have people coaching me when I started in business. I started business very, very young. If you look at my story, my backstory, I had to kind of do business because I didn't have the opportunity to do go to get a regular job. And so back in those days, 20 plus years ago, it was before Facebook, before all this other stuff. Like I was looked upon as a crazy person. And
Mm,
a lot of entrepreneurs are looked upon as a crazy person. And so people wanted to run away from me. Like, you're doing that? Oh, get out of here, get away. Until you actually see something come from that. And so no one coaches you in that space. So for me, I'm like, listen, let me cut through the chase sometime and just give you what you actually need because I know you're hurting. Like literally just yesterday on a coaching call, a young lady, they working on a class, but I saw that she was hurting. She was going through something. She was at that point where I can quit this business. So I got off of the script and got right to what she needed. She needed a win yesterday.
mhm,
I went ahead on and said, okay, listen, I got people I work with in your area. Let me go ahead and give you some information, give you some numbers, give you some people to talk to. And that helped her out. She started crying and she was happy because she said, nobody would help me. She said, I was concerned about taking on this call because I didn't expect to get any help either.
mhm,
And I said, no, forget all of this stuff. Let me help you. And that's what a lot of people, we stick to just, okay, this is the script. We're going to talk to them. Because some people actually have, oh, this is the script. It's first call, we're going to have these questions. Second call, we're going to have these questions. And no, I'm not doing that. I want to know who you are and I want results. And the best way to continue keeping people coming is for them to get results from you,
Mhm,
not run of the mill situation. Cause I don't believe it's a one size fit all approach to coaching.
mhm. It's interesting, and what you're sharing resonates for me, and because I think most coaches, yeah, I think I'm certain of this, so I'm very confident. Most coaches do not know how to run a business. Do not know
Exactly.
how to grow their business, how to be successful, how to cultivate clients, and then because of that, there's a lot of people out there want to sell you their individual programs,
Yeah.
and they're very costly. You can have all the lead magnets in the world, but you want the program? Well, that's a lot of money, and coaches, they don't have that kind of money. So, if somebody, an entrepreneur, needs help, sometimes we got to deviate from the ICF coaching model. I shouldn't say that. I'm working towards my PCC, but uh, and I will share, I did not pass it the first time, so that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just need help.
Yeah.
We just need that. You have a goal. I can help you. I can help you achieve that goal.
That's what's got me successful as a coach
Mhm.
because when my coaching program, we definitely keep track. I keep track of sessions, and then also my participants get a chance to keep track of sessions as well. So
Right.
it's documented what happened with them in that time frame, how it helped, things of that nature, and it's transparent. So the people who are booking us, because usually they're not paying. I already figured that out. The people who I wanted to help, they don't have a budget. They're
Right.
new entrepreneurs. So I'm going B to B. Of course, they will be B as well, but I'm going to B to G, be the bigger B, that type of situation. So if instead of me trying to worry about getting a coaching client one-on-one here, I'll probably book 25 at a time.
Right.
And so overarching company is paying me an invoice and I'm working with you. So this takes away all of the barriers.
I
They're
love
not,
that.
oh, I paid him $300-400 an hour and now it's pressure. There's no pressure. We're going to go ahead and work and I can actually help you get what you need to get because we're not that barrier is gone. So then it's like, again, I know that you're doing all the stuff there because okay, everybody comes to me, oh, well, I got an LLC. I'm about to move to an S Corp. I'm like, how much money you made last year? Oh, I made about $40,000. I'm like, why? I said, "You still work a job?" Like, "Okay." I like, "Do you own a house?" "No, I just got a." I like, "So why didn't you even go to an LLC?" I like, "It's okay to be a sole proprietor at one point and move on." And they're like, "Well, that's not what everybody said. I should be this." And I'm like, people are just doing things.
Right.
You'd be surprised. And I'm like, do you know why you're doing what you're doing? And so it's hard for me, even though I'm a coach, I'm an entrepreneur first. And I've
Mhm.
been that before I became a coach. I've been that before I even became an artist. And so that's what made me successful because I always approach the business first and
Right.
then second. So I'm able to tell them more than just running down the script.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not saying that coaches is not successful coaches because there's a lot of Michael Jordan's coach could never do what he can, but
Right.
that didn't mean he couldn't bring the best out of them.
Right.
But I still believe that entrepreneurship is harder than playing basketball in the NBA.
It is rough. It could be a lonely existence, but we do need people like you, me, our peers in the Southern Nevada chapter to be there to be supportive and help people grow. Because if not, it's a lonely existence, and we get frustrated
Yeah.
if we, if we're not making the numbers we hope to make. So I have to ask you about being the artist and the photographer. What type of photography are we talking about?
Oh, I did corporate and commercial. So I've worked with Nike, worked with Save the Children Foundation, WNBA, Asia Wilson, that's the best player on it. But saying I was shooting her when she was in high school.
Okay.
And I actually did her first Nike shoot. And I did a bunch of stuff with her and then went on to other people because of her. I've worked with the NFL. I shot the Super Bowl, the last Super Bowl the 49ers was in 4 years ago. So yeah, I did that. And again, I approached it business wise. So at first I didn't have any money but a camera and I took pictures of anybody who was standing still long enough. But once I figured out what I wanted to do, the approach was different. And
Hmm.
so I said, okay, one thing, I'm a big time family guy. So I love my kids. I wanted to spend time with my children. It was a whole lot smaller at that time. My son was actually a baby. My daughter was maybe 4 or 5 at the time. So I'm like, I got to be home for them. Corporate has to work. And so I went at the law firms. We had a big law school right in the middle of our town. It was only 150,000 people in the town and 400 law firms. I targeted law firms.
Hmm.
Well, in the next 3 or 4 years, I started shooting some of the biggest law firms in the Southeast, and I was able to do amazing work. Then I started working with the government because one of the law firms was the actual law firm that the mayor at the time worked at. And so once I shot him, it was like, oh, okay. So now the city want to work with me. And then I got certified to do business with the government. So I did business with the airports, DOT, SBA, everybody. So that was my claim to fame from there. And so it was a phenomenal ride as a photographer. I mean, I got flown all over the country to do events and things of that nature. So it was a great look, and I made a lot of money, very successful with that. But the pandemic kind of shut a lot of things down because
Right.
nobody, corporate people, wasn't taking pictures.
Yeah, that's true. We don't need the. I got out to Vegas for a week in March. Took the photo ID, and then as I was going to the airport, my team leader for the coaching project I was on said, "Howard, you can't come back." So I literally had the cab driver turn around. She was waiting out in the front of the circular drive. Here's your PC and your power cord. We'll see you when we see you. So it COVID did a number on everybody. So what was the? I'm curious. What was the aha moment for you when you decided to go through coach training? What was that aha moment for you?
Oh man, because like I said, once COVID happened, my book was right there because I was gonna hold it. I wasn't gonna put it out. And I said, all right, I got to push the button on this. And I remember doing a market research training, which I still do now. I did it virtually. I had a Facebook group that I created called the I Won't Starve Nation.
Hmm.
And I did that for that group. It was amazing. Everybody jumped on, and then I released pre-orders for my book. And everybody, I sold, that's the biggest book I sold to date. I've sold about 7,000, more than 7,000 copies of that one book.
Hmm.
And it just went nuts. And people started reaching out to me for training, coaching, and everything. And I was doing it sparingly prior to that, but it wasn't my push because I was making a lot of money as a photographer and I would always be gone. And then I had my first book out. So now I'm going around doing talks and things of that nature. But I would keep a client or two. But that was it. It wasn't nothing else for me to do. And I said, what do I want to, lead with? And the coaching was the thing. Well, my wife always said, you're going to coach even whether you get paid or not. You always believe the money and tell people how to do things and things like that. Because again, no one told me.
Right.
Everybody ran away from me. And so once I made the decision, I said, all right, I got to be taken seriously. So we got to
Okay.
go ahead and train, get some certification. And that's when I went ahead on and got certified. Got certified as a coach, got certified as a trainer, got certified to train trainers. So I was dead serious about making sure that the credentials lined up with what my skill set was.
Okay. Fair enough. Now you briefly name dropped the I Won't Starve Academy, and you've got your branding is on your hat there, and this video is on, so the video is going to be up on YouTube. What is the I Won't Starve Academy?
Oh man, now that's my baby. That's it's a 501(c)(3) now, but
Okay.
I gotta take it back. So when I left my job, the job I said I worked for 8,000 an hour. I was working at the Hampton Inn in Columbia, South Carolina. And everybody said to me, because again, and to be perfectly honest, I was a felon. I became a felon when I was in college.
Okay.
Never been in trouble since, but I became a felon in college. So I knew I went my last 3 years of college facing time in prison. I didn't have to go away, but I still had the felony on my jacket. So here I am, actually a great student, graduated with 3.6, 3.7 GPA, couldn't get a job. So I'm right into full-time entrepreneurship. And now trying to figure this thing out, I got out of South Carolina, went to DC. My wife's from DC. We got married. We was living a life. I had a nice size cleaning business, making multiple six figures, doing that. She was working on Capitol Hill. 2010 come around, she lose her Capitol Hill job.
Mm.
The world's going because we coming off of the in between '08, 2012 thing. So that thing is
Right.
like her companies let them know, hey, we're shutting down in about 60 days. You guys are out of here in 30 days. All right, we got to figure this out. Sell the company. My condo's worth, I paid about $250,000 for the condo. It's worth about 160,000 at that time because it's a real estate market. So
Mhm,
we're just in bad shape. Brand new baby, my daughter. Okay, we're going back to South Carolina.
mhm,
Well, South Carolina is still a little bit farther behind than the Washington, D.C. area. So it's
mhm,
like, you're still a felon. All right, it's been years now. Been out of school, haven't did anything wrong. What are we talking about? So all I was able to do was take an $8 an hour job.
mhm,
When I left that job, everybody said I was crazy. And so my response to them was, I won't stop.
mhm,
Because I had already been successful before. So I started realizing that I can do this again. And I had already pulled out the camera. I was shooting on the side. I got an office space. And that was my mantra. And so everything I did, I hashtagged it. Hashtag I won't starve. When I got every big shoot I got, I hashtagged it. And so it became this brand. I trademarked the hashtag. So we own the hashtag. And in that time in 2017, we created an event called the I Won't Starve Experience. And that's how we started to partner with the government. We brought them in as partners, and we were able to bring in minority business contractors and get them on the road to being certified. I had partnership with banks, local schools, everything to come in there to give them resources. And from that point on, it's just we still been doing it. We became a 501c3 in 2020,
mhm.
and been knocking it out the park ever since, as far as helping out our community. So we do, of course, the I Won't Starve Experience is still something that we do, an event we do annually. And we have a self-employment summit that we're going to be bringing to Vegas next year. We're not going to do it here this year. We're going to bring it to Vegas next year, which we help young kids get an opportunity to learn about trades. Because everybody want to be entrepreneurs. I'm like, everybody's not built to be that, but you can work for yourself and be self-employed.
Mhm.
And so work on that. And then we also have our own business accelerator as well, called Fast Track. And now we're working with African American young men to teach them about business. And it's a 10-week accelerator that we do as well.
Okay. Now, I noticed on the academy page, you have a lot of different offerings within the academy. What are some of those that you can share with our listeners?
Which ones did you see? Because I can anything that's on the page.
Oh, you're gonna make me go look. So I do all my homework here.
Between my team, because it's not just me. So
Okay,
between
so I got it. So you got the classes and conference, so I won't starve experience,
uh
self-employment summit, the entrepreneur development course.
yeah, so that was brought off of, and that's kind of like me and the workshop. I mean, me and the nonprofit, but that is built off of my own book, You Won't Starve: Key Principles of Entrepreneur Development.
Okay.
Um, I teach that You Won't Starve, the entrepreneur development workshop. This as well as stuff that's in the book, but the book is broken down a little deeper. And I have three different generations. I have Gen Z, millennials, and baby boomers. We went deep, and because those are the three biggest generations that's in the workforce. And so all of them will make the transition to entrepreneurship differently. And so
Mhm,
we talk about it in depth, how each generation can go into being a full-time entrepreneurs in
mhm,
that space. But the workshop I've been doing for years, teaching individuals my 5 key principles of how to be an entrepreneur. And it's talking about hustling while you work, market research, doing business on your own level, networking, which is something I call being the cheese. I was able to be successful and go from making 8,000 an hour, again, hustling while I was working. I was shooting the whole time while I was working, to leaving. And I started where I was. I did my market research. As I said, I found out that I wanted to go ahead and work with the lawyers. I knew there was a need there,
mhm,
and they were going to not down to not just the finances, but knowing that they were going to not going to have me out 1 o'clock in the morning. I was home, and I was always home in time to pick up my kids from school.
mhm,
I was always, able to be with my kids during that. So that I picked those people on purpose. I realized I can go ahead and not have $50,000 to start a business and still be able to start making a good amount of money. So doing business on my own level. I network differently than other people. I always tell people my form of networking is where I put myself in a room where everybody in that room is my potential customer or client. Nobody's my competition. And when I'm networking, like I'm with the ICF to learn and to
mhm,
grow and make great relationships. but I would never network there with other coaches. I'm going to go into a place where everybody potentially need a coach.
Right.
And then strategic partnerships, as you can see on my personal website, as well as my nonprofit website, I have nothing but partners. And I teach partnership is not a marriage, but we partner with individuals to get things done. We get a lot of things done when you're not trying to do it on your own. Others have resources that you need, and you have resources that other people need. So I teach people, hey, find those people that have those resources that you don't have, and go ahead and get to where you got to get to.
You raise a point, because as I was looking at the site, and I'm looking at it right now, you have a lot of partners that have been involved in this business, the I Won't Starve. And how do you go about cultivating those partners and bringing them
Oh
on board?
man. Well, I always like to say you go in from a position of strength. Work with banks. Well, a lot of people are nervous to work with a bank, but banks need you too.
Yeah.
And so I do something called, reverse SWOT analysis. So, right, we always tell them doing SWOT analysis is for you. But how about I do a SWOT analysis on my potential partners?
Mhm.
What are their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And then I start pairing it with my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So is your strength something that I'm weak at? Am I strong at something you're weak? Do we have the same opportunities? Do we
Mhm.
have the same threats? When those things start to line up, those are good partners. And then I go ahead and pitch. But a lot of times people go to these people with their hand out. I have my hand out, but it's something in it, extending it to give you something. So when I met up with certain banks, I understood that banks have quotas as well. They have to give to certain communities, and they don't want to come from around that thing with their three-piece suit on and go out to the community. So I can do that for you. We have a staff. We can take care of that for you. For doing so, we can go ahead and you need this type of help. When we started the I Won't Starve experience, I didn't ask the bank for anything. I knew that I didn't have the financial resources and the information that these potential business owners needed. And
Mhm.
so I asked them to come for free. That got them, because everybody goes to a bank with something. Come for free. We fed them. We brought them on a Saturday morning. They didn't have to wear their three-piece suit. I didn't want them to wear their three-piece suit because I didn't want the people to be nervous. Everybody
Mhm.
dressed nicely. You can spill mustard on your shirt just like the regular person. But what I was able to do is that we had 100 people, or more than 100 people in the room, and a good portion of them signed up for bank accounts.
Right.
So if I can get you 40, 50 bank accounts in a day, you should hire me.
Right.
But I don't want to work for you. I just take $10,000 for this next event. And they're happy to do that, because they'll pay for that for a table to be at certain function. So
Right.
those types of things that made sense. Same with the city. I remember in that city, we had a 5% supply diversity quota. Now we have 15, and I'm part of that. So 15% of the money that's generated through city contracts have to go to minority contractors. And
Sure.
I'm getting it up to that point from 15, from 5 to 15. So, and I'm still contracted with them to this day. It's something that I'm proud of. But these partnerships is about you got to add value, and you got to
Right.
know where you add value for other people. A lot of times people are trying to partner with people who can add value to them. We always approach with the value that we can add to these potential partners. And we know by doing the research, we know what you need. We know what you're looking for. I understand when the city gets their money and when their budget comes out. I understand when federal government gets their budget, when their budget come out. So we're going in attacking 6 months before you get your budget.
Right.
So there's no question whether or not we can get put into your budget for the next quarter, for the next year.
Okay. Very
So
good.
and those things.
Yeah. So I'm curious, given the work that you've been doing, the I Won't Starve Academy, and especially the 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 baby boomers, the millennials, the Gen Z, going through your program, when do you know they've got it, and how does that show up when somebody all of a sudden gets it and they're in a rhythm?
Oh my God, that's a phenomenal question. For me, I can't get rid of. I can't get rid of, but that's what's supposed to happen. That is what's supposed to happen. Because this thing is a fire that you obviously have in you, and I'm just supposed to be the lighter fluid, because you can't motivate someone else They have to be, that's an internal thing. They have to have a fire. And when I go ahead and give you that fluid, it should ignite. And when you see that, you can't get rid of them. And it's a good way. I look forward to having the conversations. I'm seeing the emails and they're letting me know, coach, this is what I'm doing. This is what I did. And they're on it. The ones who start to fade away or run, and a lot of them just literally run from entrepreneurship. I think I probably scare some people away. But I'm honest. All my books, except for one, it's about entrepreneurship. But I'm honest because it's been hell for me to get to this point. It has been because it's very long. And my last book I just put out at the end of 2020 two, it's called Business Corner: What's Really Needed to Survive the Entrepreneurial Fight. And it's a book about coaching.
Mhm.
Who's in your corner? And I didn't have that. I didn't have someone in my corner. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like it's a calling for me to be in other individuals' corner. I went through every single track that you can go. I didn't skip a pothole. I didn't do anything. I don't know how business wise I'm still here because I went through every single thing. Nope. I tell people how to get funding. I was doing stuff with cash. I didn't have good credit until I met a friend who I didn't even realize she was a millionaire, but we were serving on a political campaign and we got a chance to talk for like a whole day on election day. We're out passing out, talking to people, giving them out, water and talking. And we're talking, and we became friends. And it took about a year later for me to realize that she was a millionaire. And we went out to lunch and I went to go pay for something with my debit card. She said, why don't you use your credit card? I don't have credit cards. What are you talking about? I don't like credit cards. And she actually explained to me why a credit card was good. I didn't know. This was literally about 7 years ago. So it wasn't like it was a long time ago. And
Right.
so, oh, okay. But nobody, I've been around people with 800 credit, never tell me. They would just tell me how bad my credit was.
Yeah.
So I don't do that to people. I want to make sure that you get it and you understand. And people are talking to individuals, oh, go get $1 million. Well, you don't need $1 million. You never had $1 million. If your life is in shambles, you ain't do nothing but fix it. Fix everything that you thought that was wrong with your life. And then by the time you got 200,000, now you want to do business. But by that time, your 3 payments late, now you're in trouble.
Right.
So I always work with them and say, okay, you can start right where you are. I talk to them about how to get money from alternative lenders, factoring companies, the people that that you're using your doing your taxes with, QuickBooks, things that they give you money, working capital things that they don't go off a credit check. I teach those types of things in my coaching sessions. So it's not just me listening to you like I'm a psychiatrist and then mirroring you with questions just to use the technique.
Right.
Sometimes I come up off of that and really help somebody and turn the corner.
I love it. I love it. And you said something a few minutes ago too about we've also shared overall the loneliness of being an entrepreneur. And I love the fact that you are a part of, maybe it's not Team Jamar Washington, because you have to have a team, but
Mhm.
your clients, the folks you're helping, they need to have a team and you're a part of their team.
Yeah, I am definitely. You're
I
right.
love that. I love that. Jamar, it's been a great conversation, and I'm excited what we're sharing today and our continued participation with the Southern Nevada chapter of the ICF. I know you're going to be hosting a kind of the book club.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big time reader. I got one of my libraries right there. I always keep a library.
Yeah,
So, of course, I'm a writer, but I love books.
I love it.
We're gonna
I
do
would have
the
to check out your books as well. And I'm thinking, I could use some of Jamar's help as well. So well, that's another conversation.
we're right here. We can. That's what we're supposed to be here for, to bounce ideas off each other so we can grow.
There you
Yeah,
go.
went over the $1 Trillion Coach. So that's a phenomenal book, and I thought it would be good for us to read about $1 Trillion Coach. I mean, this guy was a coach, one of the coaches for Apple in the old days, and out of those Silicon Valley businesses that we marvel over. He's since passed away, but the $1 Trillion Coach was a great book, and I think it'd be good for us to go ahead and touch on that as coaches ourselves.
Excellent, Al. I am looking forward to it. So before we head out, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and your work, where should we send them to first?
jhalim.com, or they can look up J Halim. You can just Google J Halim and I'll come up, but jhalim.com. I'm on every social media platform, Coach J Halim.
Okay, very good. Well, we'll provide the backlinks to the website, the social sites. We'll have backlinks to the books, and really give folks a especially young entrepreneurs of this need that help, that be a part of the team, and that spark to get started. Hopefully, we'll get some folks sent your way. And it's been a great exposure today. I love it.
Definitely. Look forward to doing it the next time too. But I'm glad I was the first. That's exciting. That's exciting. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's get everybody else in there.
I agree. I'm having a conversation, I think, next week with from the marketing
Mhm.
team who's involved with the chapter. It's like, okay, if we're going to do some podcasting, we got to talk about it now, because if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't happen.
Oh, we
So
gotta make that happen. Yeah, we gotta make that happen. We gotta take care of our own. So I'm a big time believer of that. So everybody should give you an opportunity to interview them. And they're hearing this is being recorded. So I'm saying everybody, come on, give them an opportunity to interview. This is a good way for everybody to get to know each other too. I think it'd be great.
I think you're spot on, spot on. Well, Jamar, thank you again, and it's been great to spend this time with you to learn more about you, your background, your work, and your passion. And really, I'm excited where you're going to go, and tomorrow, the next day, next year, and then I get to join you because we're peers. Join you on part of this journey. So thank you so much.
Likewise, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
All right, listen, stay in the line. We're going to do a real quick close, and you and I can have a final chat.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we've just been chatting with Jamar Washington, motivational speaker, lifestyle coach, corporate trainer, best-selling author, 4 books, and the founder of the I Won't Starve Academy. Jamar and I are also peers with the Southern Nevada chapter of the International Coach Federation. That's how we met. And I just think I love hearing the stories of how coaches, what was that aha moment, that spark that brought them into this profession. And I also love how they are helping their ideal clients and the community, and definitely some great examples of how Jamar is putting this into practice, especially with the I Won't Starve Academy and his partnerships, the strategic partnerships with businesses, government entities, and how he's making this all happen. He's making a difference in the communities for which he serves. So we really appreciate it. Now, do go out to his website, jhalim.com. Again, we'll provide those backlinks in our show notes, as well as the links to all of the social sites. Now, as for us, you can find us on our website, successinsightpodcast.com. We're also on our Success Insight podcast pages on LinkedIn and Facebook. We have a YouTube page, and the episodes are also on my coaching website. They're actually getting loaded as we speak, foxcoaching.com. You can look up in the toolbar next to book an appointment for a podcast. And this podcast, as well as my outdoor adventure podcast, all of the episodes are there, and you'll see this episode with Jamar there as well. And again, all the podcast directories, wherever you get your podcast from, just search for Success Insight Podcast. Now, we likes, comments, and sharing. This is a great episode that you are sure to share with your colleagues, family, and friends, or any other episode. Let us know what you think. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day, and we will see you on a future episode of the Success Insight Podcast. Take care now.